Book 3, Rajasuya, The Imperial Sacrifice. A curious incident followed the bridal of Draupadi. The 5 sons of Pandu returned with her to the potter's house, where they were living on alms according to the custom of Brahmins. And the brothers reported to their mother that they had received a great gift on that day. "Enjoy ye the gift in common," replied their mother, not knowing what it was. And as a mother's mandate cannot be disregarded, Draupadi became the common wife of the 5 brothers. The real significance of this strange legend is unknown. The custom of brothers marrying a common wife prevails to this day in Tibet and among the hill tribes of the Himalayas. But it never prevailed among the Aryan Hindus of India. It is distinctly prohibited in their laws and institutes, and finds no sanction in their literature, ancient or modern. The legend in the Mahavarata of brothers marrying a wife in common stands alone and without a parallel in Hindu traditions and literature. Judging from the main incidents of the epic, Draupadi might rather be regarded as the wife of the eldest brother Yudhishthira. Bhima had already mated himself to a female in a forest, by whom he had a son, Ghatotkacha, who distinguished himself in war later on. Arjun too married the sister of Krishna shortly after Draupadi's bridal, and had by her a son, Abhimanyu, who was one of the heroes of the war. On the other hand, Yudhishthira took to himself no wife save Draupadi, and she was crowned with Yudhishthira in the Rajasuya or imperial sacrifice. Notwithstanding the legend, therefore, Draupadi might be regarded as wedded to Yudhishthira, though won by the scale of Arjun, and this assumption would be in keeping with Hindu customs and laws, ancient and modern. The jealous Duryodhana heard that his contrivance to kill his cousins at Varnavad had failed. He also heard that they had found a powerful friend in Draupadi, and had formed an alliance with him. It was no longer possible to keep them from their rightful inheritance. The Kuru kingdom was accordingly parcelled. Duryodhana retained the eastern and richer portion with its ancient capital Hastinapur on the Ganges, and the sons of Pandu were given the western portion of the Yamuna, which was then a forest and a wilderness. The sons of Pandu cleared the forest and built a new capital, Indraprastha, the supposed ruins of which, near modern Delhi, are still pointed out to the curious traveller. Yudhishthira, the eldest of the 5 sons of Pandu, now king of Indraprastha, resolved to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, which was a formal assumption of the imperial title over all the kings of ancient India. His brothers went out with troops in all directions to proclaim his supremacy over all surrounding kings. Jarasandha, the powerful and semi-civilized king of Magad or South Bihar, opposed and was killed. But other monarchs recognized the supremacy of Yudhishthira and came to the sacrifice with tributes. King Dhritarashtra and his sons, now reigning at Hastinapur, were politely invited to take a share in the performance of the sacrifice. The portion translated in this book forms sections 33 to 36 and section 44 of Book 2 of the original. 1. The Assemblage of Kings. Ancient halls of proud Hastina mirrored bright on Ganga's wave. Thither came the son of Pandu, young Nakul, true and brave. Came to ask Hastina's monarch, chief of Kuru's royal race, to partake Yudhishthira's banquet and his sacrifice to grace. Dhritarashtra came in gladness unto Indraprastha's town, marked its noble tower and turret on the azure Yamuna frown. With him came preceptor of Kripa, the ancient Bhishma came, elders of the race of Kuru, chiefs and Brahmins known to fame. Monarchs came from distant regions to partake the holy rite, warlike chiefs from court and castle in their arms a courtred bride. Kshatriyas came with ample tribute for the holy sacrifice, precious gems and costly jewels, golden gifts of untold price. Proud Duryodhana and his brothers came in fair and friendly guise, with the ancient Kuru monarch and Vidur, good and wise. With his son came brave Subal from Gandhar's distant land, Car-borne Celia, peerless Kern, came with bow and spear and brand. Came the priest and proud preceptor Drona, skilled in arms and lore. Jedreth, famed for valor, came from Sindhu's sounding shore. Drupad came with gallant princes from Panchal's land of fame. Salva, lord of outer nations, to the mighty gathering came. Vagadatta came in chariot from the land of nations brave. Pragjyotis, where the red sun wakes on Brahmaputra's wave. With him came untutored blessers, who beside the ocean dwell, uncouth chiefs of dusky nations, from the lands where mountains swell. Came Virat, Matsya's monarch, and his warlike sons, and bold Sisupal, king of Chedi, with his son bedecked in gold. Came the warlike chiefs of Brishni, from the shores of western sea, and the lords of Madhyadesh, ever warlike, ever free. 2. Feast and Sacrifice. Yamuna's dark and limpid waters laved Yudhishthir's palace walls, and to hail him Dharmaraj, monarchs thronged his royal halls. He to honored kings and chieftains with a royal grace assigned, palaces with sparkling waters and with trees umbrageous lined. Honored thus, the mighty monarchs lived in mansions milky white, like the peaks of famed Kailash lifting proud their snowy height. Graceful walls that swept the meadows circled round the royal halls. Nets of gold belaced the casements, gems bedecked the shining walls. Flights of steps led up to chambers many tinted carpet graced, and festooning fragrant garlands were harmonious interlaced. Far below from spacious gateways rose the people's gathering cry, and from far the swan-white mansions caught the ravished gazer's eye. Richly graced with precious metals shone the turrets bright and gay, like the rich-hued shining turrets of the lofty Himalaya. And the scene bedecked by rishis and by priests and kings of might shone like azure sky in splendor, graced by deathless sons of light. Spake Yudhishthir unto Bhishma, elder of the Kuru race, unto Drona, proud preceptor, rich in lore and warlike grace. Spake to wise preceptor Kripa, versed in sacred rites of old, to Duryodhana and his brothers, honored guests and kinsmen bold. Friends and kinsmen, grant your favor, and your sweet affection lend. May your kindness ever helpful poor Yudhishthir's right attend. As your own, command my treasure, costly gifts and wealth untold. To the poor and to the worthy, scatter free my gems and gold. Speaking thus, he made his diksha, and to holy walk inclined. To his friends and to his kinsmen, all their various tasks assigned. Proud Dusasan in his bounty spread the rich and sumptuous feast. Drona's son with due devotion greeted saint and holy priest. Sanjay with a regal honor welcomed king and chief of might. Bhishma and the pious Drona watched the sacrificial rite. Kripa guarded wealth and treasure, gold and gems of untold price, and with presents unto Brahmins sanctified the sacrifice. Dhritarashtra, old and sightless, through the scene of gladness strayed, with a careful hand, Vidur all the mighty cause defrayed. Proud Duryodhana took the tribute which the chiefs and monarchs paid. Pious Krishna unto Brahmins honor and obedience made. It was a gathering fair and wondrous on fair Yamuna's sacred shore. Tributes in 1,000 nishkas every willing monarch bore. Costly gifts proclaimed the homage of each prince of warlike might. Chieftains vied with rival chieftains to assist the holy rite. Bright immortals, robed in sunlight, sailed across the liquid sky, and their gleaming cloud-borne chariots rested on the turrets high. Hero monarchs, holy Brahmins, filled the halls bedecked in gold. White-robed priests, adept in mantra, mingled with the chieftains bold. And amidst this scene of splendor, pious-hearted, pure and good, Like the sinless god Varun, gentle-souled Yudhishthir stood. 6 bright fires Yudhishthir lighted, offerings made to gods above, gifts unto the poor and lowly, spake the monarch's boundless love. Hungry men were fed, and feasted with an ample feast of rice. Costly gifts to holy Brahmins graced the noble sacrifice. Either Ajaya, home offerings, pleased the shining ones on high. Brahmins pleased with costly presents, with their blessings filled the sky. 3. Glimpses of the Truth. Dawned the day of Abhishek, proud anointment, sacred bath. Crowned kings and learned Brahmins crowded on Yudhishthir's path. And as gods and heavenly rishis throng in Brahma's mansions bright, holy priests and noble monarchs grace the inner sacred site. Measureless their fame and virtue, great their panas and their power, and in converse deep and learned Brahmins passed the radiant hour. And on subjects great and sacred, oft divided in their thought, various sages in their wisdom various diverse maxims taught. Weaker regions seemed the stronger, faultless regions often failed. Keen disputants like the falcon fell on views their rivals held. Some were versed in laws of duty, some the holy vows professed, some with class and varied comment still his learned rival pressed. Bright the concourse of the Brahmins unto sacred learning given, like the concourse of the bright stars in the glorious vault of heaven. None of impure caste and conduct trespassed on the holy site, none of impure life and manners stained Yudhishthir's sacred rite. Devarishi, saintly Narad, marked the sacrificial rite, sanctifying by its lustre good Yudhishthir's royal might. And a ray of heavenly wisdom lit the Rishi's inner eye, as he saw the gathered monarchs in the concourse proud and high. He had heard from lips celestial, in the heavenly mansions bright, all these kings were God incarnate, portions of celestial light. And he saw in them embodied beings of the upper sky, and in lotus-eyed Krishna saw the highest of the high. Saw the ancient Narayan, great creation's primal cause, who had sent the gods as monarchs to uphold his righteous laws. Battle for the cause of virtue, perish in a deadly war, then to seek their upper mansions in the radiant realms afar. Narayan, world's preserver, sent immortal gods on earth. He himself in race of Yadu hath assumed his mortal birth. Like the moon among the planets, born in Brishni's noble clan, he whom bright gods render worship, Narayan, son of man. Primal cause and self-created, when is done his purpose high, Narayan leads immortals to their dwelling in the sky. Such bright glimpses of the secret flashed upon his inner sight, as in lofty contemplation Narad gazed upon the right. 4. The Arghya. Outspake Bhishma to Yudhishthir, monarch of this wide domain, honor due to crowned monarchs doth our sacred law ordain. Arghya to the wise preceptor, to the kinsman and to priest, to the friend and to the scholar, to the king as lord of feast. Unto these is due the Arghya, so our holy rites have said. Therefore to these kings assembled be the highest honor paid. Noble are these crowned monarchs, radiant like the noonday sun. To the noblest, first in virtue, be the foremost honor done. Who is noblest, quoth Yudhishthir, in this galaxy of fame? Who of chiefs and crowned monarchs doth our foremost honor claim? Pondering, spake the ancient Bhishma in his accents deep and clear. Greatest midst the great is Krishna, chief of man without a peer. Midst these monarchs pure in lustre, purest hearted and most high, like the radiant sun is Krishna, midst the planets of the sky. Sunless climes are warmed to verdure by the sun's returning ray. Windless wastes are waked to gladness when reviving breezes play. Even so this Rajaswaya, this thy sacrificial rite, owes its sanctity and splendor unto Krishna's holy might. Bhishma spake, and Sahadev served his mandate quick as thought, and the arghya duly flavored unto peerless Krishna brought. Krishna, trained in rules of virtue, then the offered arghya took, darkened Sisupal's forehead, and his frame in tremor shook. To Yudhishthir and to Bhishma turns the chief his flaming eyes. To the great and honored Krishna, Sisupal wrathful cries. 5. Sisupal's pride. Not to Brisne's uncrowned hero should this reverence be paid, midst these mighty crowned monarchs in their kingly pomp arrayed. I will beseems the good Yudhishthir, royal Pandu's righteous son, homage to an uncrowned chieftain to the lowly honour done. Pandu's sons are yet untutored, and with knowledge yet unblessed, knowing Bhishma blessed with wisdom, had the rules of courts transgressed. Learned in the laws of duty, he had sinned from partial love, conscious breach of rules of honour, doth our deeper hatred move. In this throng of crowned monarchs, ruling kings of righteous fame, can this uncrowned Vrishni chieftain foremost rank and honour claim? Doth he as a sage and elder claim the homage to him done? Sure his father Vasudeva had his claims before his son. Doth he as Yudhishthir's kinsman count as foremost and the best? Royal Drupad by alliance surely might the claim contest. Doth he as a wise preceptor claim the highest foremost place, when the great preceptor Drona doth his royal mansion grace? Unto Krishna as a rishi should be foremost rank given. Saintly Vyasa claims the honour, Vedic bard inspired by heaven. Unto Krishna should we render honour for his warlike fame. Thou, O Bhishma, that subduer, surely might precedence claim. Unto Krishna for his knowledge should the noble prize we yield. Drona's son, unmatched in learning, surely might contest the field. Great Duryodhan, midst the princes, stands alone without a peer. Kripa, priest of royal Kurus, holiest of all priests here. Archer Karan, braver archer none there is of mortal birth. Karan learnt his arms from Rama, he who slew the kings of earth. Wherefore then to unknown Krishna render we this homage free? Saintly priest, nor wise preceptor, king nor foremost chief is he. 6. Sisupal's fall. Tiger-hearted Sisupal spake in anger stem and high. Calm unto him Krishna answered, but a light was in his eye. Least, O chiefs and righteous monarchs, from a daughter of our race, evil distant Sisupal doth his noble lineage trace. Spite of wrong and frequent outrage, spite of insult often flung, never in his heart had Krishna sought to do his kinsman wrong. Once I went to eastern regions, Sisupal like a foe, burnt my far-famed seaport Dwarka, laid the mart and temple low. Once on Voja's trusting monarch, faithless Sisupal fell, slew his man and threw him captive in his castle's dungeon cell. Once for holy Samid, Vasudeva sent his steed. Sisupal stole the charger, sought to stop the righteous deed. Once on saintly Bavru's consort, pious-hearted, pure and just, Sisupal fell in madness, forced the lady to his lust. Once Bisal's beauteous princess went to seek her husband's side. In her husband's garb, disguised Sisupal clasped the bride. This and more had Krishna suffered, for his mother is our king. But the sickening tale appalleth, and he added scene to scene. One more tale of sin I mention, by his impious passion fired, to my saintly wife Rukmini, Sisupal had aspired. As the low-born seeks the Veda, soiling it with impure breath, Sisupal sought my consort, and his righteous doom is death. Krishna spake, the rising red blood speaks, each angry hero's shame. Shame for Chedi's impious actions, grief for Sisupal's fame. Loudly laughed proud Sisupal, spake with bitter taunt and jeer, answered Krishna's lofty manners with disdain and cruel sneer. Wherefore in this vast assembly dost proclaim thy tale of shame, if thy wedded wife and consort did inspire my youthful flame? Doth a man of sense and honour, blessed with wisdom and with pride, does proclaim his wedded consort was another's loving bride? Do thy worst, or if by anger, or by weak forbearance led, Sisupal seeks no mercy, nor doth Krishna's anger dread. Lowered Krishna's eye and forehead, and unto his hands there came fatal disc, the dread of sinners, disc that never missed its aim. Monarchs in this hall assembled, Krishna in his anger cried. Oft hath Chedi's impious monarch Krishna's noble race defied. For unto his pious mother plighted word and troth was given. Sisupal's 100 follies would by Krishna be forgiven. I have kept the plighted promise, but his crimes exceed the tale, and beneath this vengeful weapon Sisupal now shall quail. Then the bright and whirling discus, as this mandate Krishna said, fell on impious Sisupal, from his body smote his head. Fell the mighty armed monarch like a thunder-riven rock, severed from the parent mountain by the bolt's restless shook. And his soul, becleansed of passions, came forth from its mortal shroud, like a radiant sun in splendor from a dark and mantling cloud. Unto Krishna, good and gracious, like a lurid spark aflame, chastened of its sin and anger, Sisupal's spirit came. Rain descends, in copious torrents, quick the lurid lightnings fly, and the wide earth feels a tremor, restless thunders shake the sky. Various feelings await the monarchs as they stand in hushed amaze, mutely in those speechless moments on the lifeless warrior gauge. Some there are who seek their weapons, and their nervous fingers shake, and their lips they bite in anger, and their frames in tremor quake. Others in their inmost bosom welcome Krishna's righteous deed, look on death of Sisupal as a sinner's proper meed. Rishis bless the deed of Krishna as they wend their various ways. Brahmans pure and pious-hearted chant the righteous Krishna's praise. Sad Yudhishthir, gentle-hearted, thus unto his brothers said, funeral rites and regal honours be performed unto the dead. Duteously his faithful brothers then performed each pious rite, honours due to Chedi's monarch, to his rank and peerless might. Sisupal's son they seated in his mighty father's place, and with holy Abhishek hailed him king of Chedi's race. 7. Yudhishthir Emperor. Thus removed the hapless hindrance, now the holy sacrifice was performed with joy and splendour, and with gifts of gold and rice. God-like Krishna watched benignly with his bow and disc and mace, and Yudhishthir closed the feasting with his kindliness and grace. Brahmans sprinkled holy water on the empire's righteous lord. All the monarchs made obeisance, spake in sweet and graceful word. Born of race of Azimada, thou hast spread thy father's fame. Rising by the native virtue, thou hast won a mightier name. And this right unto thy station doth a holier grace instill, and thy royal grace and kindness all our hope and wish fulfill. Grant us, King of mighty monarchs, now unto our realms we go, Emperor over earthly rulers, blessings and thy grace bestow. Good Yudhishthir to the monarchs parting grace and honours paid, and unto his duteous brothers does in loving kindness said. To our feast these noble monarchs came from loyal love they bear. Far as confines of their kingdoms, with them let our friends repair. And his brothers and his kinsmen duteously his hest obey. With each parting guest and monarch journey on the homeward way. Arjun went with high-souled Drupad, famed for lofty warlike grace, trusted him with Virat, monarch of the Matsya race. Bhim on the ancient Bhishma, and on Kuru's king doth wait. Sahadev waits on Drona, great in arms and virtue great. With Gandharva's warlike monarch brave Nakul holds his way. Other chiefs with other monarchs, where their distant kingdoms lay. Last of all Yudhishthir's kinsmen, righteous Krishna fain would part, and unto the good Yudhishthir opens thus his joyful heart. Done this glorious Rajaswa, joy and proud of Kuru's race, grant, O friend, to see God Dwarka, Krishna now his steps must trace. Be thy grace and be thy valor, said Yudhishthir thus replies, be thy presence, noble Krishna, I perform this high emprise. By thy all-subduing glory, monarchs bore Yudhishthir's sway, came with gifts and costly presents, came their tributes rich to pay. Must thou part? My uttered accents may not bid thee, friend, to go. In thy absence vain were empire, and this life were full of woe. Yet thou pratest, sinless Krishna, dearest, best beloved friend, and to Dwarka's sea-vast mansions Krishna must his footsteps bend. Then unto Yudhishthir's mother, pious-hearted Krishna hies, and in accents love-inspiring, thus to ancient Pritha cries. Regal fame and righteous glory crown thy sons, revered dame. Joy thee in their peerless prowess, in their holy spotless fame. May thy sons' success and triumph cheer a widowed mother's heart. Grant me leave, O noble lady, for to Dwarka I depart. From Yudhishthir's queen Draupadi, purged the chief with many a tear, and from Arjun's wife Subhadra, Krishna's sister ever dear. Then with rites and due ablutions to the gods are offerings made. Priests repeat their benedictions for the righteous Krishna's aid. And his faithful chariot driver brings his falcon-bannered car, like the clouds in massive splendor, and resistless in the war. Pious Krishna mounts the chariot, fondly greets his friends once more, leaves blue Jamuna's sacred waters, for his Dwarka's dear-loved shore. Still Yudhishthir and his brothers, sad and sore and grieved at heart, followed Krishna's moving chariot, for they could not see him part. Krishna stopped once more his chariot, and his parting blessings gave. Thus the chief with eyes of lotus spake in accents calm and brave. King of man, with sleepless watching ever guard thy kingdom flare, like a father tend thy subjects with a father's love and care. Be unto them like the raindrop nourishing the thirsty ground. Be unto them tree of shelter, shading them from heat around. Like the blue sky ever banding, be unto them ever kind. Free from pride and free from passion, rule them with a virtuous mind. Spake and left the saintly Krishna, pure and pious-hearted chief. Sad Yudhishthir wended homeward, and his heart was filled with grief. End of Book 3.